Over the middle. Touchdown! The Beavers fell to 1-2 on the season with a 48-14 setback against Minnesota, where the offense struggled to get going. Hand off to Ryan Dahl. This week, OSU hits the road for the air raid in Washington State on the Palouse. Coach Anderson joins us to break it all down. Beavers Inside the Huddle starts now.
Everybody be a playmaker today. A good play, y'all. Here we go.
Close toward the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Beavers!
Well, that's a shot of sunny Research Stadium on Saturday night. It was dark and a little bit rainy down in Corvallis as we hit the quarter pole of the season. Welcome into the Beavers Inside the Huddle studio along with Steve Priest. I'm Dusty Hara. Steve, we are at the quarter pole of the season. 3 games are down, 9 to go, 1-2 to start. How you feeling about this kind of 1-2 start and where we're at?
Well, I'm feeling like we should start the season right now. I think that'll make a big difference. This has not started the way the Beaver expectations were. That's Beaver Nation, I believe. After the end of last season and the growth the Beaver team has had in the offseason, I think everyone is expected to see more out of this Beaver team. It's young, it's not playing up to form, and Gary Anderson has been there before. This is not a situation that any real good college coach hasn't been through, and I look for the Beavers to come back and hopefully it happens now, because we are a quarter of the way through and the real season starts this Saturday.
Well, let's jump into what was last week the loss to Minnesota with our hot and cold, brought to you by Pyramid Heating and Cooling, where your comfort is our top priority. The first scoring drive of the game had to come in the second quarter, but boy, it may have been the best drive of the season. 15 play, 80 yards. And that's something that we haven't seen from the Beavers so far this year, is a drive sustained like this, including a trick play from a wide receiver throwing for a first down on 4th.
Well, no question about it. And you said the right words there. It was a mixed drive. This was run pass all the way through it, the trick play at the end. Jordan Villeman made a couple of great catches during this drive, including the touchdown. And as you said, 15 plays, second longest play drive of the Gary Anderson era. So it was a good start, and it's too bad it had to go to the second quarter. But right then, Dusty, I had the feeling that the Beavers had weathered that 17-0 start. And that they were ready to win this football game. Didn't happen that way.
Well, and as you said, the rain was pouring during the time that the Beavers were playing the best. We need more rain maybe down at Research Stadium for that offense to click.
It was a sign, right?
it was a sign. All right, from the hot to the cold, turnovers were an issue for the Beavs yet again. We have 3 turnovers in the course of this game, and it wasn't interceptions, it was fumbles. Ball just popping out.
Yeah, and you know, you look right there, Noah Tongiai is one of the Beavers' most sure-handed receivers. He drops this ball down the middle after a good catch. Jake Luton drops it. Later on, Ryan Dahl, in a real tough situation on the 14-yard line, he ends up dropping the ball. This is a good Minnesota tackling team. Their strength is up front in that front 7. They hit some people, and the Beavs just did not respond the way they have to. And you look at it right there, it amounts to 17 quick points.
Yeah, 17 points off of turnovers. That's tough for any defense to get the ball back in that quick situation. Sudden change turnover, especially on that Ryan Dahl one. And, you know, one thing that I did like from Ryan Dahl coming out of that game in that week was, I mean, the guy dislocates his finger on that fumble, and he says, I got to be better than that. I've got to hold, fingers pointing in the wrong direction, and he's taking ownership of what happened.
Well, he takes ownership. I noticed he had comments in the paper about his playing time. The guy only carried the ball 7 times, and he needs to carry it 15 to 20. And, you know, you can't do that with 29 or 28 total carries during the football game. So the Beavers have to get better all the way around. The offense isn't going to get better at throwing the ball until they run better. And the running game isn't going to get better until they throw better. So they're in a bit of a dilemma, but a good coaching staff will work it out. That's what they get paid for. Gary Anderson is comfortable and confident with his staff.
And on the other side of the football, defense, 253 yards allowed rushing to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They ran the ball a lot. I mean, if you look at it, they were just trying to grind that clock out. Only 4.4 yards per carry on 253 yards.
Well, and you take out the last 64-yarder at the end, and it's 3.3. Until that last long run, the Oregon State defense had actually played pretty well statistically, but you saw plays like this. They'd shut them out, it'd be third down. Here's the quarterback scoring at the end, but it'd be third down situation, and the Beavers would have this team right where they wanted them. And then they'd make a play and miss a tackle, not hold the tackle. Those kinds of things it's the fourth game, Dusty. You got to wrap up. You got to make plays on defense, and there has to be some people on that field who are taking some leadership and taking some ownership of this defensive situation. They got to play football.
All right, let's hear from the man himself. Coach Gary Anderson joins us to take a look back at Minnesota and a look ahead at the Washington State Cougars and to open up Pac-12 play on the road in the Palouse. Welcome back into inside the Huddle studio as we head down to Corvallis and welcome in the head coach of the Oregon State Beavers, Gary Anderson, joining us. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Fantastic.
We're great, Coach. Issues on offense. Last week wasn't a great time on offense. 35 yards in the second half. Their questions are all out there, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's the play calling. Give us your analysis of where the offense is right now.
Well, you were nice in your analogy, so a lot nicer than I probably would have been. We obviously have got to take a long, hard look. And the key on offense, defense, special teams, anything that you're doing within football is give your playmakers an opportunity to have some success and develop a scheme that allows your playmakers to have success. And we have not been good enough at that. We have very talented running backs, and Ryan Nall is an extremely talented running back as long as you give him an opportunity to be very good running back, and the same with AP, and the list goes on. And so our opportunity to, number one, run the football must improve. It has to improve. And then our ability to have a passing game that allows us to be able to protect. We've talked long and hard about 2.5 seconds. It's not all of a sudden a surprise that we're going to try to get the ball out under 2.5 seconds. That was the goal in the offseason. That was the goal all through camp, all through spring. And we have to be able to do that and get our kids in position to be able to know when to throw it, who to throw it to, and get the receivers in a position to receive the ball in under 2.5 seconds. And that's the job of myself and the coaches that I hired to be able to get that done. So, we can step up all over the place, and the kids want to. The kids want to be good. They want to work hard, and they'll continue to strive to get much better, and we'll work our tails off to put them in the right spots.
One of the bright spots from the Minnesota game, and really all season long, has been two receivers on the outside. Freshman Isaiah Hodgins hasn't looked like a freshman for the first 3 games, and Jordan Villeman has put his struggles behind him from last year and really had a great game against Minnesota. Can you talk about those two guys and really Jordan Villeman in his emergence as kind of that go-to guy on the perimeter?
Absolutely. I'm very proud of Jordan. His development has been very good off the field. It's been very good on the field, and it's fun to see that in a young man, and it's fun to see him have some success and play the kind of football that he expects himself to play and that we expect him to play. And he's made some very nice plays. He's catching the ball in contested areas, which we've asked him to do, and with his big body and his big hands, he should be able to do that. And Jake's thrown him some nice balls, so it's been a positive. And Isaiah on the other side is also, you're right, he does not carry himself like a freshman, and that's a credit to his parents, in my opinion, and the way he was brought up, for his ability to come in and mentally handle where he is as a freshman, his God-given ability, and his parents gave him a tremendous body, but he has mentally handled it, and physically he's prepared, and so proud of the way that he's been able to do both of those, because that's rare in a freshman, especially in a Power 5 conference.
Coach, I'm going to give you another freshman then. David Morris, when you go to the other side of the ball. Another true freshman who has great size and great skills, obviously. I didn't realize he was as good at playing the run as he was last week, but 17 tackles. Talk us up through about David Morris and what he brings.
Well, from a family standpoint, I'd echo exactly what I said about Isaiah. David Morris has a tremendous support system, and his family also has extreme expectations for him on and off the field. And David has handled it mentally and physically. He fought through camp. He's positioned himself out to beat some players out that have played a whole bunch of football, and he's done that as a true freshman. And he comes to work every day. He's very smart. He can handle it in the back end. He's proven that he's a tackler. He's a rangy guy that can run. And David Morris, for 17 tackles for a safety in that position. A lot of those were around the line of scrimmage in the last game also, which was good to see. He's a very talented young man. A credit to the recruiters also that were able to get him here. He's a quality talent as a young man.
All right, we're just getting underway with Coach Anderson as we're taking a look at the Washington State Cougars in the opener of Pac-12 play, hitting the road for Pullman. Which quarterback are you preparing for?
Motion man is Sweet. A rush of 4. Helinski has time. Pass complete. Morrow gets away from a defender. Morrow to the end zone. He is shouldered out of bounds. Touchdown. Mike Leach's Cougars complete the comeback from 21 down with a backup quarterback, Tyler Helinski, in. They get sweet revenge on Boise State for last year's Broncos win.
There's the next 5 games for the Oregon State Beavers. 4 of the opponents are ranked on there, and by October 14th, Colorado could be ranked as well. As we bring back in Coach Anderson. Coach, you start Pac-12 play, and it's kind of the beauty and the beast of playing in the Pac-12 is that the level of competition is so high, but 4 of your next 5 opponents are ranked. As you sit here and you get ready to attack the game that's in front of you in Washington State, the road ahead in Pac-12 play, do you gear up any differently when it's conference opponents and you have a stretch like this one?
I hope not. You prepare the same for every team that you play, and Pac-12 play is Pac-12 play. We know we're obviously in a gauntlet here with some very talented teams, but that's going to hit you when you play in this conference. And where we are, we should look at those as very, very challenging and great challenges, and something that we want to take on head first. And our kids are excited about it right now. It's not coach talk. It is Washington State, and that's the game that we're looking at. And then we have a bye, and we go from there. But there's very talented teams in this league. This league has obviously gotten a whole bunch better here the last few years, from what I hear from the coaches that are in the conference, and obviously from what I see. So there's some great teams. A couple teams will be top 10 when we play them, I'm sure, and I'm sure all 5 of those guys will be ranked by the time we get to them. I'd imagine if Colorado takes care of their business, which they would expect to.
Coach, you've been here before. In your history, you've been on teams as assistant coach where you've started out slowly at Utah, and I think a couple of times there really turned out with a great team and ended up with a wonderful team at Utah. At Utah State, your 3rd year, you had a situation where you were 2-5. Started slow, you were playing tough games, and then you broke out. You're used to this. How do you keep the kids in it, and how do you get them to the next step to winning that big game to kick this off?
It's a great question. And number one, we have a process, and it's a process that we believe in for as far as our structure and how we prepare for the week. So there's not just a wholesale change where you dump what you were doing because it doesn't work. This system works. It's worked for 25, 28 years now, and it's tweaked. Yes, absolutely, it's tweaked. It's changed every single year, and it will continue to, but it's not broken, just like we prepare through the off season. And it's that these kids will continue to compete. Kids have the ability to be able to bounce back quicker than I think than me, for sure, and I appreciate them out of that, because that is not one of my strong points, is to bounce back after a loss. It's hard for me, and they're the ones that get me back. But our kids want to play. They want to prepare. They're excited about the Pac-12 and playing, and they understand that we do have a process. And when we do things the right way on game day, and we take care of our business, and we can compete at a high level, we'll be just fine. But our kids understand that hasn't completely taken place the way we want it as coaches, the way they want it as players, and everybody that's involved with Oregon State football as a whole. So they'll grind, they'll fight, they'll battle, because that's the way they've been trained for a long time, and they expect to keep getting better. And I think they believe in the process. I truly believe that.
As we move on to Washington State, it's very rare that you can text the dad and mother of the opposing quarterback to see if he's going to be playing this week. Luke Falcon, you have a great relationship with the Falk family that goes back to your days in Utah. It looked like his head bounced off the turf, and they brought in Helinski prior to that as well. Are you preparing for 2 quarterbacks, and does it differ in your game planning from one quarterback to the other? Are they kind of the same when you look at Washington State's QBs?
Yeah, the system will not change. I wouldn't expect it to change at all. Luke obviously has a bunch of experience and has been a tremendous quarterback, but they're both very good. They both can handle the system. You know, look what happened last week. They came back with the backup quarterback. He came in there and he brought them back from a very difficult deficit, and they've got some opportunities that they took advantage of. And that's what a good team does. You know, when opportunity presents itself and it knocks, they will open up the door and they take advantage of it. And that's exactly what took place in that game. And both quarterbacks are very capable of leading their offense. And he has surrounded himself, both those quarterbacks, with very, very good players on the perimeter, with the wide receivers, with the running backs, who I think are the unsung heroes of the offense, in my opinion, and a very, very talented offensive line. They expected to be a talented offensive line this year because they're senior laden and they have a lot of reps underneath them.
All right, time to get to the expert picks, and it's brought to you by your local Carrier heating and air conditioning dealers. Carrier, turn to the experts as I'm turning over to Steve Priest.
Coach, Jake Luton. I think Jake Luton is ready for the breakout game, and I hope it isn't running the read option like last week, but he did that last week. Gets a key first down or near first down here. He's proven he can throw this football. He's still throwing for 250 yards a game and doing a lot of good things. Talk about Jake's strengths and where he needs to go to finish this season the way we started.
Well, I think the big thing for Jake is just continued improvement every day. Just relish the grind and functionally move yourself through the process to gain more trust every day within the receiving unit, within the core, understand the offense so you can get the ball out of your hands and make the right reads and get in a position to know where and how your offense is protecting and getting in the spot and getting the ball out of there. So, you know, those reps are extremely valuable. The game reps are very valuable for him. The practice reps are very, very valuable. And the meeting time is very valuable for him. And I think he's putting in the work to continually grow and develop. You're correct. He makes all the throws. That's why we recruited him. You know, he wants more. Absolutely. We want him to have more. And I expect that to continue to grow. And the key, again, is making sure that we give Jake that opportunity as a group of coaches to do the best we can do with our players to have a position for Jake to be a successful quarterback at a high level.
All right, we get the keys to the game from Coach Anderson and our keys to the game as well as the Beavs get ready for Washington State on Inside the Huddle. Well, the Beavers won't be there as that's the friendly confines of Reser Stadium. They head up to Washington State, a 2:30 kick from Martin Stadium on Saturday with the 22nd ranked Washington State Cougars. All right, we head back down to Corvallis and Coach Gary Anderson. Keys to the game as you guys head up to Pullman to open up Pac-12 play.
Well, offensively, I'd say this. The ability to throw the ball and run the ball effectively and convert on third downs will be huge. But more importantly, that is score. We're at a point to where you have to score points, and our goal is never going to change. I've said it in this league. Your goal has got to be to score 40 points to be able to get yourself in a competitive situation in competitive games. Do you have to score 40 every week? I'm not saying that, but your goal should be to score around 40 points a week, and we have to up that to get us in an opportunity, get ourselves an opportunity to be able to win Pac-12 games. And on the defensive side of the football, it's real simple with these guys. Okay, they are going to move the football at times. They always do. They're going to go up and down the field at times. You have to be able to understand. It's much like I used to tell the kids when they're playing the option. They're going to get theirs. The key is to get them off pace and then take advantage when they're off pace. So in other words, longer yardage situations, we have to be good in those spots, and we'll have to take our chances. So, you know, a first down here, first down there, a drive that goes on for 10 or 11 plays, you got to dig in the red zone and find a way to get out of it. And that sounds very simplistic, but that's an attitude that the defense has to have when you're playing an offense like this, that you know they're going to have some success moving the football. And that's important that they're able to dig in and bow up and find an opportunity to make a play that allows them to make the next play to get outside of the drives. And then when we get into those third down situations, we have to be the ones that put ourselves in a spot to get out of drives, not the ones that give the offense a layup because we make a mistake.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck when you guys head up to Pullman for that 2:30 kick on Saturday.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a great week. Go Beavs.
Thanks, Coach. Go Beavs.
All right, there's a schedule of what's coming up on CSN. Talking Beavers every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Thursdays right here, right now, is Inside the Huddle. And then Go Beavs Friday nights at 9 o'clock. All right, time for the keys to the game from us. Brought to you by your Northwest Honda dealers. All right, Steve, where do you want to go?
Hey, we're playing Washington State.
Keys to the game.
That means you stop the short, quick pass. And you do it by a combination of man-to-man and zone, but you have to do it with man-to-man primarily. And the Beavs have lost their 2 starting cornerbacks this week, so this will be interesting. Also, critical on defense is missed tackles. The missed tackles so far have been the biggest single issue on the defensive side of the ball. They got to be better. The passing attack has to be shortened to the center of the field for Oregon State's offense. This is going to be a very good defensive line that Washington State throws at them. They'll come quick.
Yeah. All right, for me, it starts with a number that sounds very high, but for Washington State, that's their magic number, 90 snaps on offense. They want to run as many plays as they possibly can, so hold them at under 90. And then after that, it's win the time of possession. You do number 1, you're going to get to number 2. And number 3 for me, you got to score on special teams. There's no way to change your fortunes and boost your opportunities for an upset on the road than a special team score.
Well, yeah, a special team score is absolutely correct. And I think in this game, you need some breaks.
Yeah.
You have to take advantage of every single opportunity you get. The Beavers haven't taken the ball away enough. They need to. They haven't got enough sacks. They need to get kind of excited about this game, play an inspired football game that looks like they're ready to play for 60 minutes.
Well, we will be here on Thursday to break it all down with Coach Anderson, but it's Saturday, 2:30, Beavs and Cougs. All right, Beavers Inside the Huddle every Thursday night, 10 o'clock. Watch us right here on CSN.